As an artist, I spend a lot of time researching topics that have a relevance to the particular brief that I'm undertaking. I don't do this to be clever or to try and fool the audience, because it's during the research phase that the ideas and the possibilities actually come flooding in. For me, the hardest part is having to whittle the ideas into bite-sized pieces before my processes can begin. When somebody stands in front of my work, I wanted to communicate to that audience. I wanted to say, open your mind and just look deeper. I wanted to say, I took weeks of late nights and cold dinners to come into being, and I'd like you maybe to recognise just a little part of that. I enjoy researching. Researching for me is akin to the therapeutic properties that some people associate with painting or playing golf. Researching other artists' works and their processes, I just get transported to another realm. I mean, I can spend days mulling over and sifting through the gathered information, just to find that one tangible piece that forces me down a particular path. The real fun for me begins with sketches and in the more focused research. After that, the different processes, they start to take place. I do my experimentation and then go straight into the processes. I think to translate to my work, how it translates to my work basically is I have to look at that piece when it's finished, and I have to have the confidence to say that I've taken this as far as I can for now. If I can't do that, well then I haven't researched it enough, or I haven't put enough effort into it. The processes I enjoy the most? Oh dear. Well, I'm a multidisciplinary artist, so I'm really very comfortable around any material. I mean, I feel equally at home in an engineering workshop or in a photo studio. It doesn't really matter where. Of course, I'm bringing my years of construction and my engineering experience into this and into my art, which it really helps me. I think working with clay and ceramics can be very, very frustrating, but that's because of the firing times. You really have no control after you've started the firing sequences. Until you open the door like 2 days later, all you can do is wait and keep your fingers crossed. I mean, saying the rosary won't fix it. I really don't have any favourites per se. I mean, it's all supposed to be fun anyway, isn't it? Being born and raised in the countryside gives you a particular type of freedom. There are less restrictions, and you're immersed in nature at every turn. You cannot avoid colour when your father is an avid gardener, and your summer nights are filled with the scent of honeysuckle just wafting in through the windows. I remember painting laurel leaves with whitewash as a child because everything was so green. I mean, why couldn't I change the colour, even if it was by artificial means? I didn't understand artificial when I was a child, but I knew that if I wanted it white, I should paint it white. Building tree houses and tree swings was a pastime. Making your own go-kart with found bits and pieces, that was part of your initiation into childhood. Of course, having a mad father was also very helpful. I've always had an attraction to derelict buildings, and especially the bric-a-brac that's left behind by the former residents. I don't know why. I was never able to fully explain it or to express the appeal, nor did I understand how to document the feelings I was having and why I felt the way I felt. Buying my first DSLR camera in 2012, I think that was a watershed moment for me. I mean, suddenly the possibilities were endless. As a qualified trainer, I loved imparting knowledge that I had accumulated over my lifetime in different guises. I travelled to Nairobi in Kenya in 2014, and I think that was a real turning point in my life. And the people had absolutely nothing with the clothes that they wore, but they were still very, very happy people, always. I couldn't really grasp that. I found it very hard to understand how they could be so happy having so little. So immediately on my return, I signed up to study art at GMIT. It's a decision I would never regret. It's something I've enjoyed thoroughly in my time there. Every artist has an internal critic looking out and finding reasons not to make art or to make work. I think, for me, engaging with the materials helps to quiet that inner voice. In the beginning, I used to ask myself if anyone would like what I was doing. But it soon became apparent to me that no matter what anybody else thought, I had to continue. I had to continue on my own path. Of course, I care about the work that I make. I mean, if I don't care about the work I make, then I can't expect anyone else to. Yes, I still feel apprehensive, and doubts do creep in here and there. But what keeps me going is the hope that I can make work that an audience can actually engage with on some level. Now, whether that happens immediately on viewing the work, or maybe when they sit at home in the quiet, it doesn't really matter. I think for me the ultimate reaction from an audience would be that just one person might like to return again, because maybe I've triggered something. I just stirred up some feeling or some idea that maybe had been hidden for a while.